level of care possible. He has prioritized patients' needs no matter how sensitive since he began practicing in 1985. If you're due for a dental visit, Economowalk Dental has an $89 new patient special, so you can get the care that you need at an affordable price. In addition to an exam, you'll receive a gentle, professional cleaning that will leave your mouth feeling smooth and rejuvenated. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Check out Economowalk Dental Care at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give them a call at 262-567-7224. That's 262-567-7224. Start 2025 on a good note by feeling confident about your smile and go see my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good morning, 9 o'clock. We're at 3 below. It's not going to get much warmer than that. Sunny and cold today with a high of 5. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. It's the coldest air of winter that's arrived across southeast Wisconsin. The air temperature started off below zero this morning. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Tyler Moore says there won't be much improvement throughout the day.
So where do we go from here for the rest of the day? Well, it stays miserably cold pretty much all day long. Wind chills close to 20 below this morning. We'll get into the teens below zero this afternoon. Similar high temperatures to yesterday, only getting a couple degrees on the positive side of zero later on this afternoon.
Cold weather advisory in effect for today through noon Tuesday. Wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero, and extreme cold warning will go into effect for areas north and west of Milwaukee from midnight tonight till noon Tuesday for wind chills as low as 35 below. A few reminders on ways to keep your home warm and safe during this bitter cold.
There's a few simple things you can do to heat your home more efficiently. Seal gaps around windows and doors. Change your furnace filter. Open the curtains or blinds when the sun is out, but close them at night to retain that heat. Space heaters and electric blankets should always be turned off and unplugged when not in use. A space heater should also be plugged directly into the wall and kept away from flammable materials. Also, to avoid risk for carbon monoxide poisoning, never use an oven to heat your home, and clear snow and ice away from your home's natural gas meter. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in less than 5 minutes. Later this morning, Donald Trump takes the oath of office to become the 47th president of the United States.
President-elect Donald Trump began his day at Blair House, the presidential guest house just across the street from the White House. First on the schedule, a church service at St. John's, which is on Lafayette Park and is known as the Church of the Presidents. The Bidens welcomed the Trumps to the White House for a tea and coffee ceremony before they all traveled together to the Capitol for the inauguration ceremony and swearing in. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Republican strategist Bill McCoshen is in Washington, tells Wisconsin's Morning News what he expects to hear from the president-elect during his first speech today.
Be very determined. Unity, strength, and fairness are the themes of the speech, and I call it the NASCAR start. This is going to be all gas and no brakes. I expect somewhere around 200 executive orders just today alone.
String of 11th-hour pardons by President Biden. Recipients include Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and members and staff of the House committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Americans can once again get back on TikTok. The app was dark for about 16 hours from Saturday evening to Sunday morning. When users reopened the app, a message popped up thanking them for their patience and praising Donald Trump for getting the app back online. Storing data in Wisconsin. Port Washington could be the home of the next Southeast Wisconsin data center, not long after Microsoft announced plans to buy more land in Mount Pleasant. Why do we need so many of these centers now? Editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal, Timothy Gibbons, tells WTMJ the answer is AI.
Artificial intelligence requires crunching a vast amount of data. They're based on what are called large language models, and the large is the key there. What these data centers do is basically, if you think of it kind of like a warehouse for computers, where there's just a vast amount of data being stored and crunched through there.
Still don't know who will operate the Port Washington Center, but we're told it will not be Microsoft. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are closed today for the King Day holiday. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:04.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richland's Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
All right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitchke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. 4 teams remain with a shot at the Super Bowl title. It'll be the Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Buffalo Bills at Arrowhead next Sunday. In the NFC, the Eagles set to play the NFC East rival Washington Commanders on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. Tonight in college football playoff national championship action, number 7 Notre Dame takes on number 8 Ohio State at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Bucks extended their winning streak after blowing out the 76ers 123-109 from Pfizer. They visit the Pelicans Wednesday night. And Wisconsin Badgers in action tomorrow night against UCLA from Los Angeles. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, Siding, and a whole lot more. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson and Sons paving time saver traffic. We've got 2 left lanes blocked due to a crash. This is going to be I-41 East at the ramp from Forest Home Avenue, that is. Again, that's 2 left lanes that are blocked there. A couple of broken bound vehicles. One is at the exit from Rawson Avenue from I-41, 94 North. I-43 South about a half mile beyond US 45 and Highway 100. Right shoulder they're blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A cold weather advisory in effect for today through noon Tuesday. Wind chills 20 to 30 below. Extreme cold warning in effect for areas north and west of Milwaukee from midnight tonight till noon Tuesday. Wind chills as low as 35 below. Cold today with a high of 5. Again, those wind chills 15 to 30 below. Cold tonight, a low of 10 below Lakeside, 15 below inland. And again, those wind chills 25 to 35 below. Sunny and cold tomorrow, a high of 3. Scattered snow showers Wednesday. Breezy, a little bit warmer with a high of 23. Cloudy with flurries on Thursday, high 26. Sunny on Friday, a high of 28. It's 4 below in Madison, 6 below in Green Bay, and 2 below now in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
I would say yes on a day like today, honoring Martin Luther King and Inauguration Day, if you didn't hear, in Washington, D.C. At this moment, President Joe Biden, till about noon today, East Coast time, First Lady Jill Biden just greeted President-elect, soon to be the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Melania Trump soon-to-be First Lady Melania Trump at the White House. I hear that the Vice President and her first husband will be there as well. You know, it's a fascinating thing whenever the worlds collide, especially in the political world now. We're going to spend the hour talking about some of the things that are going to be happening today. Certainly going to spend some time on TikTok. Amazing weekend when it comes to TikTok. Also an amazing weekend for misinformation, disinformation, and just weirdness when it comes to a social media platform. The import that some people think these platforms have, and I'm not denying they're important, but sort of an overstatement of importance, I think, is where I'll go with that. But let's start with the basics. The next president, Donald Trump, returning to the White House. Matter of fact, the current occupant said welcome back to the president-elect when they arrived, which is sort of interesting, right? It's historical. They're having tea, apparently. Didn't know Donald Trump or Melania Trump were big tea drinkers. Maybe there's options. Diet Coke for the president, perhaps? Who knows? They started their day, those presidents and first ladies, by attending a service at St. John's Episcopal Church near the White House. It's a tradition, and I'm glad they've honored that tradition. What's going to happen in Washington? You heard Bill McCoshen, my regular Friday contributor, along with Joseph Pecky, on the scene in Washington, D.C. Now, Bill is certainly a Republican strategist, but he's certainly well-connected. And like a lot of people, many were caught off guard from when they made their plans to when they arrived in Washington, D.C. about the change in the structure of this inauguration day from outside to inside. I'm not going to give the president-elect any grief about it. It is windy, really, really windy and very cold. It makes more sense. We don't need to have thousands and thousands of people standing outside waiting for, and there's always delays, waiting for all of that. It's happened before, so it's not creating a new precedent. Ronald Reagan did it 40-plus years ago. The ceremony itself, which will be beginning at 11-ish, I always say that because they're always late. Maybe they won't be. Maybe they'll surprise me. We'll be in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. There'll be music, invocation. Many of you in Milwaukee will know this name, Cardinal Timothy Dolan, Archbishop of New York, formerly of Milwaukee. Reverend Franklin Graham will give an invocation. The vice presidential oath administered by U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. America the Beautiful, one of my favorite songs, and probably a lot of yours as well. Carrie Underwood, who's this is just a momentary departure from what I want to talk about, is apparently getting grief from some of her fans. And to those fans, I say, grow up. Who amongst us, if we're invited to attend something like this, and this is an artist, so it's not like just regular folk, wouldn't just take the honor and say, certainly, Mr. President. Carrie Underwood will sing America the Beautiful. The oath of office will be administered to now President-elect, soon to be 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, by Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts. We have the Battle Hymn of the Republic performed by the U.S. Naval Academy Glee Club. Always, always worth listening to. And then Donald Trump's inaugural address. And I'm going to spend probably the next big chunk of this half hour talking about what's going to happen in the days ahead. I'm going to start with this. Anybody who listens to the show regularly knows I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I do, however, respect the office of president, and I'm willing at this moment to give Donald Trump, soon to be president, the benefit of the doubt on what he's trying to accomplish. Now, Bill McCoshen, my friend from Friday, said this speech is about unity. We'll see what that sounds like. It's been characterized, the speech, as a return to common sense. Okay. I'm going to spend some time talking about what will happen through executive action by the president, probably mostly today, but probably tomorrow as well, and maybe beyond that. We could have as many as 200 or more executive actions in the first week of the 47th President of the United States term. I'll detail some of that stuff. What does it mean? Is it a return to common sense? I may surprise you with some of my answers, especially on immigration policy, border policy. All that coming up on a solo edition. No guest today, just me. For those of you who love the More Steve, to the Dennises out there and the Johns and the Bills and all you folks. Today's your day. More after this.
Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I remember I never spoke in front of a podium until the NFC Championship game.
See the world from his perspective.
With all due respect, why were you asked to go to the podium?
To be podium guy.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, every day at 7:50.
What do you mean with all due respect?
I didn't want it to come off like I was being rude. I'm just curious.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It comes off incredibly rude. Hey, Tausch, you suck. What are you doing up at the podium? Well, thanks, Bill.
Presented by Hello Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Kohler Services.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside. Let freedom ring in Whitney Capital.
Honoring Reverend Martin Luther King on his day, MLK Day. Some great coverage, by the way, on 1017 The Truth today. Some remotes and honoring one of those iconic Americans whose legacy still continues and hopefully thrives to this day. We are going to talk about some of the things that incoming president, the soon-to-be 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump, will do today. Now, the issue of executive actions is an interesting one, right? Executive orders. The president has the right to do this. Now, there's some questions about whether, in some of these cases, the president actually has the power to do what he says in these orders. That'll all be parsed out later. But one of the big ones, let me do the silly one first. The president apparently is going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Couldn't care less. Do what you got to do. I don't know that most people who refer to the Gulf of Mexico will change that. Travel agents, travelers, the like. I don't know. Whatever. Also, changing the name of Denali, which used to be Mount McKinley, back to Mount McKinley. I guess that'll be parsed out as well. But the big one, of course, is the border. The president apparently today will declare a national border emergency. Here's where it gets interesting. He will direct the U.S. military to work with the Department of Homeland Security to fully secure the southern border and establish a national priority to eliminate all criminal cartels operating on U.S. soil. The president-elect, soon-to-be president, will close the border to all illegal aliens via proclamation. Trump will also create task forces for the protection of Homeland Security, working with the FBI, ICE, CEA, and other agencies to go after criminal cartels. We also can probably explore a little bit the mission of the president to go after people in this country illegally who have committed crimes. That story will be certainly explored in greater detail in the weeks and months to come because that's not an easy process. But there's lots of rumblings about what that might look like, including detention centers as close as the city of Milwaukee or beyond. Why did I bring up the immigration border policy? Because I wanted to say something about this, because I think this is one of the ones that certainly shouldn't surprise you. The president has talked about this. President-elect has talked about this forever. First administration, State of the Union speeches, certainly in the campaign, during the Biden administration's term. And I would say to people who are upset about this, we've had administrations led by Democrats. Certainly have had administrations led by Republicans. And ultimately, our border is a mess. It's inexcusable. I don't even see how you can disagree with this, to just allow this to be an open border, essentially. We know that people are crossing, we see them cross, and yet we continue to allow that happen for not years, but decades. All parties, all presidents are responsible for this mess. So you should not be surprised. I'm not surprised that in his return to common sense, one of the principal executive orders or actions that the president will apparently implement today is they're shutting down that border. You will not cross illegally. I would make the case, and this will maybe upset some people, this is a return to sanity. You cannot be safe in today's world with a border where people just cross indiscriminately with no repercussions. It can't be our reality. And for so long, again, not excusing elected officials, they've messed the bed. This is, in some way, an attempt to clean up the mess. So much is made about the number. Less is made about the impact to communities along that border. If you're upset about the crime issue because you think it's overstated, how about the impact on schools, public services, all of those other things that some of these communities are forced to pay for because we have not done what we should have done a long time ago? My goodness, the Canadian border, you can't bring fish back to the United States if you're up there fishing for a week. I've done it. That's the reality. What do you think comes across that border with Mexico? It ain't fish. It's dangerous drugs. It's dangerous people. We have organizations, including in Milwaukee, who argue that this should never be looked at. We should just accept it. And perhaps it's related to our history. Maybe not. Maybe. And our close association with the people of Mexico, who for hundreds of years, thousands of years, have gone back and forth across that first river, then border. None of this should surprise you. And this is one I think that perhaps, and there's an if on this, but perhaps if Americans see that this border is finally closed like all the other borders are closed, if it's policed like all the other borders are policed, maybe we can actually have a sane discussion about what immigration policy should be. For example, my grandparents came to this country through a legal process. Ellis Island. It wasn't easy. They came from Sicily on my dad's side. They had to sit in long lines, questioned, with nothing in the way of financial means, but they carved out a life. There's nothing wrong with that example. And so we're clear, I'm not anti-immigration. I just want the rules followed. And this is a bigger question, a much bigger question. And it applies to not just the border and immigration. It's to all of this stuff. We cannot be okay with going after the laws and the people we agree with and just letting everything else slide. If you're a local organization who works on behalf of people who are in this country illegally, you better start figuring this stuff out. You want to see, if you're a Trump enemy, and there's a lot of them out there, you want to see a rise in hate in this country? Continue doing what we used to be doing, and perhaps that will change today. To those texters who are saying, we had a border immigration policy on the table. Trump nixed it. He did. Not even disputing that. The only immigration policy that will work long term is one that both sides agree to. What Donald Trump is doing here is saying, first step, we're going to close this. Then we'll move forward. Which is really, really smart, because now we understand that once that happens, Congress, for maybe the first time in decades, will actually have to do something about immigration and border policy. That might be a good thing. Political Power Hour, Monday edition, solo edition, and I'm loving every bit of it. More after this.
So close you can smell the rubber on their shoes. Okay, maybe not that close, but as close as you can get. Bucks Insiders on Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
The long wait has ended. After a half century, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
It's Bucks Insiders every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Hey, it's Kristen Bry, and you should tune in to Spanning the State this week from 1 to 3 p.m. for your chance to win 2 tickets to experience the legendary music of Pink Floyd live in concert with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. This unforgettable show is happening at the Riverside Theater on February 7th. Tickets are on sale now at papstheatergroup.com. You don't want to miss Pink Floyd's legendary music like you've never heard it before, with a full rock band and orchestra. Be sure to tune in to Spanning the State this week for your chance to win.
If you're a woman looking to take control of your financial future, you are not alone. Women are leading the way in business and managing household finances, but challenges still exist. That's why Annex Wealth Management presents the Women in Wealth series every third Thursday. It'll empower you with knowledge and resources to succeed. Join us for collaborative discussions, community building, and learn about key areas of financial planning. Women in Wealth events are free every third Thursday. Sign up at annexwealth.com/events and bring a friend.
Labor shortages, retention problems, it's been a challenging time for my business. But in Wisconsin, there's 600,000 people with disabilities who are ready to work right now. They just need you to believe in them and say yes. I did.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support for people with disabilities and their employers to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Vita Hearing Care. My life is better. My wife's life is better because of Vita Hearing Care. I have hearing aids from Vita. The testing process was easy. It's affordable. They're a local family-owned company, Vita Hearing Care, 2 locations in Mount Pleasant and Waterford. I've got my hearing aids in right now. It's made my life a better life. Cognitive decline can happen if you can't hear right. It's a real thing. Visit VitaHearingCare.com to learn more. That's Vita, V-I-T-A, hearingcare.com. The real deal at Vita.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
The brilliant words and voice of Martin Luther King on this MLK Day, also Inauguration Day, not ignoring that. We'll cover that in more detail throughout the day here on 620 WTMJ. We've got a lot of great coverage coming up, including the president's address. I'm pretty sure we'll cover most of that, but we shall see. I'm going to talk about TikTok today as well. I think that's something we need to talk about. Just a quick one, which bothered me. I'm watching the attendees arriving at the Capitol Rotunda. If you're being escorted by a member of the U.S. military to your seat, get off your damn smartphone. First of all, it's embarrassing. Second, it's disgraceful and disrespect of the process of which you are supposed to be a part of. Grow up. All right, we're going to have Connie Weber, the great Connie Weber, will update us on local news. Lots more to talk about TikTok, but before we get to any of that, the latest now from ABC.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. People are being let into the Capitol Rotunda ahead of today's inauguration. The Trumps and the Bidens about to depart the White House on their way there. ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers has more.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden welcome President-elect Donald Trump and Melania Trump back to the White House this morning. Welcome home, the president said to Trump as he greeted him at the top of the North Portico steps at the front door of the White House. The Bidens and Trumps briefly spoke before posing for a photo and then heading inside. President Biden confirmed to reporters he left a letter for the incoming president, but didn't say what he wrote. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Earlier today, the president issued a preemptive pardon for members of the January 6th Select Committee, Dr. Anthony Fauci and former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mark Milley. President-elect Trump is promising to sign dozens of executive actions later today. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. The weather tops our news here today. A cold weather advisory in effect through noon Tuesday. Wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. And an extreme cold warning will go into effect for areas north and west of Milwaukee from midnight tonight till noon Tuesday. Wind chills as low as 35 below. Bitter cold being blamed for a man's death outdoors in Milwaukee over the weekend. The 80-year-old found dead on the sidewalk near 12th and Orchard on the city's south side early Sunday. Initial investigation shows he collapsed on the sidewalk around 2 a.m. Medical examiner investigating the death as probable hypothermia. Two people lucky to be alive after a two-car rollover crash in Kenosha County happened around noon Sunday, 31st Street and County Highway BD in the town of Brighton. Both vehicles ended up about 50 feet off the road. The two were hospitalized but expected to survive. A dog was also hurt, taken to the vet for assessment. Cause of the crash remains under investigation and nobody's been charged. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are closed today because of the King Day holiday. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We still have that crash. It is blocking now just one left lane. I-41 east at the ramp from Forest Home Avenue. I-41 south almost a mile beyond the ramp from Lannon Road. Right shoulder blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Also another stalled vehicle. This is going to be off the left shoulder. I-94 west almost a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 100. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A cold weather advisory in effect for today through noon Tuesday. An extreme cold warning in effect for areas north and west of Milwaukee, also until noon on Tuesday. Very cold today with a high of 5. Wind chills 15 to 30 below. Clear, cold tonight. Lows 10 below to 15 below. Wind chills 25 to 35 below zero. Sunny and cold tomorrow, a high of 3. Scattered snow showers possible on Wednesday. 23 for the high. Cloudy with flurries on Thursday. 26. Mostly sunny Friday with a high of 28. 4 below in Madison, 6 below in Green Bay, and 2 below in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Trained Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Should I delay my Social Security benefits, or should I start taking them right away? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your decision can impact your income for the rest of your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we help you create a strategy to maximize your benefits so you can make the most of what you've earned. Social Security is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap. Take the first step today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and get a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Don't leave money on the table. Text SS to 414-897-9522.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
Martin Luther King, many years ago, but echoing many of the thoughts of Americans on both sides of the political aisle today. Freedom is a word. Unity is a word that's being thrown around. Common sense is a phrase being used. Someone asked me on the text line, what do you expect? I have no idea. There's probably going to be 200, maybe more presidential actions related to everything. And somebody said, why don't you go into all of them? I could literally spend the rest of the morning, if it's not my shows, but till noon going through each one of these things. There's all kinds of stuff in here. And I'll probably get into a few more of them tomorrow. And they cover federal employees and how we work together for the American consumer. Some of the federal regulatory efforts that some people say just cost us money and don't necessarily work, looking at that. So there'd be questions about all sorts of things today. President's also going to apparently suspend the security clearances for the 51 national security officials who he said lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. So that will happen as part of this. Lots to talk about. Anyway, over the weekend, if you're not a TikTok person, I apologize, but this is a big social media platform. 170 million users in the United States. It is an incredibly popular platform for young people. I think originally that's what it was. Background, owned by ByteDance, a Chinese company. Most people think, I don't even think it's a question anymore, controlled by the Chinese government and are actively, as we speak, if you're a TikTok user, gathering data about your information, your personal data, where you live. All these things are happening. And apparently TikTok users say, I'm good with that. Potentially risking the security of the United States. That's one part. I could do a whole show, and I probably will at some point, about the impact on our culture and our young people when it comes to the preoccupation with social media. Spending, according to some TikTok user data, 90 minutes a day on this platform. Younger people. Not young adults, teenagers. Some younger than teenagers. What's the argument against TikTok? I do my small business on here. I monetize it. It's part of my annual salary. Okay. Although I looked it up. Most people who monetize make less than $500. There are big users who make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not going to get into who those people are. I've argued before that influencers to me mean nothing. I've never changed my mind, never bought anything because an influencer told me to. And that's part of what I think is the sickness in this country, that we allow these people with really no expertise, often because they look nice or are clever, to make money selling things that more likely than not they don't use. Why am I bringing this up? Over the weekend, because Congress, wisely so, put an end date on TikTok unless the company was sold to a U.S. company. It wasn't close. It was bipartisan. Yes, I understand it was packed into other legislation. That's how Congress works now. There are very few standalone bills. And that date arrived this weekend. And for about, I believe, 14 hours, TikTok was shut down in the United States. Oh, and I knew this was happening because my text on my phone, I started to hear from friends who had teenagers. They can't get on TikTok. Oh, my goodness. To which I responded, great social experiment. Ask them what else they would do using that time. And to my liberal friends, if you're making the argument that part of the reason you want to save TikTok is because you have monetized it or it has become a great marketing tool, careful when Republicans, especially small business-minded Republicans and conservatives, make that very same argument for the extension of the 2017 Trump tax cuts, because that's what they're going to do. You're going to find yourself in weird company because you haven't really thought this through. Do I think TikTok should go away? No. I used to think that. I don't really care. I don't use it. There's enough social media platforms. If TikTok went away, there'd be another one to replace it. Trust me. But take off, and this is hard for people to do, including myself, take off your own personal bias and look at the equation here. You have a government of China directly accessing citizens' information in the United States. And it's not immune to TikTok. It happens on other platforms too. But we're talking about TikTok because that's what Congress passed the ban on. In what world does it make sense for us as a country to allow that, especially with China? And having worked in the private sector, I know that for decades, China has played in the world of corporate espionage, showing up at trade fairs and manufacturing conferences and trying to get our secrets when it comes to the products we produce. So this is not new. If you're a youngster, you just don't know about this. I'll close this one with this comment. And I'm going to make it really clear. Again, TikTok, if it's bought by a U.S. company and it's controlled like all social media platforms should be controlled with respect to privacy of citizens, protection of our data, and security when it comes to a world that's very dangerous, filled with terrorists who want to blow us up, then I'm fine with having those platforms. It's not that I don't care about you making money on TikTok. Knock yourself out. Pretty sure, though, if you needed to, you could market your company or business in a different way. But I am not willing, and you shouldn't be either, to risk the security of the United States because you want to produce a TikTok video. Nope. That shouldn't be controversial. That's really what all of us should be thinking about TikTok. Lots more to get to. Pardons, the subject of pardons, came up today because the outgoing president, who, by the way, right now is traveling in the same limo as Donald Trump, fly on the wall of that conversation. God, that would be amazing to listen to. Would love to hear that conversation. Same limo on their way to the U.S. Capitol for the inauguration ceremony. After the break, pardons, political power hour, 620 WTMJ.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Love talking about Advent. I've told you this before, but don't wait to do something about your issues. I had those nights, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep, snoring, which can lead to a miserable next day. Trust me. My nose wasn't working properly. I went to Advent for a 30-minute visit. They put me at ease. They answered my questions. They added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem, sinuses and nasal passages. After a short procedure, I breathe better than ever. I've run into people all around this area and beyond that have had similar procedures, and they swear by it. They love the impact it had on their sleeping life and their general well-being, and the fact that they can just not think about that anymore. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Sun, 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 fun, 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 sun, sun, sun.
Boaters, this is your show, the Milwaukee Boat Show at State Fair Park. Over 300 boats, family runabouts, ski and surf boats, luxury pontoons, more Lake Michigan boats than ever. Tierra, Beneteau, Pursuit, Cruisers, Sea Ray, Boston Whaler, and more. Get that boat and get that deal. See Twiggy the water skiing squirrel the second weekend. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com, January 17 through 26, closed Monday and Tuesday.
Hey, John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning. My reverse osmosis system in my house is fantastic. The water I drink, the water we feed the dogs, the water we cook with is crisp, clean, and clear thanks to Guthrie and Fry's RO system. It's the best in the business. It's affordable, it's effective, and you'll feel a lot better. It's all about the science. They know at Guthrie and Fry that better water makes a big difference. Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice and my choice is Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation. But they only come after you've built something they want to be part of.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Lark.
I love the location, and that's the main reason Dave and I are there, is because of nature all around us. I knew when we moved in, I was leaving behind a lot of stress and responsibility. I decided now is the time to do what I want when I want to do it.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions.
Martin Luther King on MLK Day here in the U.S. We are I'm watching, hopefully you are as well, the current occupant of the White House, or soon-to-be former President Joe Biden, riding in a limousine with President-elect, soon-to-be President, 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, to the U.S. Capitol building. There's about 2,600 people actually in and around those ceremonies they're ongoing. They have singers, they'll have speakers, and of course we'll have the inaugural address of the 47th President coming up somewhere around 11 o'clock. I don't know how exact those times are going to be, but we'll certainly be on those stories here at WTMJ throughout the day and beyond. Most of this week, I think we'll be talking about some elements of this first week. We talked earlier about executive actions, orders by the president to sort of establish his agenda day one. I talked in depth about immigration policy. None of us, whether you hate Donald Trump or love him, should be surprised by this. And to my liberal friends, this is what happens when you don't do something about a problem. And to echo what Martin Luther King said in that little bump we played, the words that you put down need to be echoed in your actions. A lot of talking, a lot of yapping. Not much work done. Texters have asked me to comment on the pardons issued by outgoing President Joe Biden to Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, those on the Executive Select Committee, staff of the January 6th committee looking at the attack on the United States Capitol. I don't like pardons like this, preemptive. I understand why they're happening, and for those who want to make the comparison between Trump and Biden, Donald Trump pardoned people that were convicted, like Roger Stone and others. Paul Manafort. So let's not get too amped up about what these mean. You can hate Dr. Fauci. I would say your hate is misplaced. One of the rewrites of history is that everyone now is a infectious disease specialist. Well, Dr. Fauci actually was one. And nobody, including scientists, researchers, all the people that we entrust with our safety, has all the answers day one. And if you lived through the COVID thing, which most of you have, unless you're very young, we all understand how crazy that time was. We had people dying. We didn't know why, the implications. In some ways, we overact. I would think so when you talk about especially education, young people, probably. But not knowing things often creates an environment for stricter protocols, whether you like them or not. Dangerous times. COVID, infectious disease. So for me, seeing the former president clear some of this stuff out so that the next president, next administration doesn't waste our time and dollars, since we're talking about government efficiency apparently, on unnecessary, in my opinion, investigations, I think is a smart decision. You don't have to agree with it. Frankly, I don't care if you do or not. We'll take a break here. We'll wrap up my show. Get ready for the top of the hour news with Connie Weber. And, of course, Jeff Sherman's The Upswing. You are listening, as you should be, to 620 WTMJ.
We will no longer accept politicians who are all talk and no action, constantly complaining, but never doing anything about it.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser. I sure appreciated my 2023 Chevy Silverado this morning. Just hit my fob twice, got it warmed up, stepped into a warm truck this morning on my way to work, early in the a.m. with below zero temps. That's only one of many things I love about the great vehicles at Heiser. I own one. We just purchased a Trailblazer from Heiser last summer, I should say. This one, though, you can actually buy it from underneath me. You can go on their website, Heiser.com. 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT, glacier blue, metallic, awesome color. One of the things I love, easy to find in the parking lot. Easy to find. Never have to look around for my vehicle. Black cloth interior, 8-speed automatic transmission, great gas mileage, low mileage, great payload, great towing capacity, all the things you love in trucks, especially the Chevys. You can find all of their vehicles, not just this one, at Heiser.com or one of 5 great locations in Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin. That's why they say every day, today's your day.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised lifestyle, depression, and soon they start talking surgery. And then what? You have to get in front of arthritis and chronic pain, because the sooner you do, by letting us begin to calm those pain points, the better. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and we can alleviate your pain so you can rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Explore outdoor living this Saturday from Eric Brown, the president of Outdoor Living Unlimited. He knows his stuff. They expand your living space with decks, patios, fire pits, even outdoor kitchens, and can show you a virtual reality of it all for starters. Outdoor Living Unlimited did a great job at the Matzik household. We love it. So listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix It Show and check out OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
Martin Luther King on MLK Day, also Inauguration Day. We'll have extensive coverage throughout the day on 620 WTMJ. Final thoughts. I encourage everyone to, whether you voted for Donald Trump or not, to watch, listen, and remember carefully the words he chooses to use in his inauguration address, which will be coming up in about an hour or so. And again, these things are often not precise. So I encourage you to watch. Why do I ask you that? If you're not a fan of Donald Trump, remember what he said. Because the sort of the secret that doesn't get talked about much today, maybe not secret isn't the right word, but the reality is that from this point on, with a Congress controlled by Republicans and a presidency resided in by former President Donald Trump, soon to be the 47th President of the United States, Republicans own this one. And I'm a Republican, so I care about it. You're a Democrat, you should care too. And as I'm going to weave in a little bit of the history of this show for the last hour, if you are spending all of your oxygen worried about TikTok, I say this in the nicest way possible. Grow up. It's a social media platform. You'll live. Whatever happens to it, you will live. I got off Twitter. Don't miss it. And I won awards for being on Twitter, so I understand the platform. Watch, listen, and remember what is said today because you're an American citizen, whether you voted for this president or not. Last word. For the tech icons who are supposedly the smartest people in the world, you may be the richest, but you're not even close to being the smartest. The news is next.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God.